Today we're doing math page 87 and 88. Luke 12:15 says, Jesus said, "Don't be greedy for what you don't have." Real life is not measured by how much we own. And there's more to this world than just our things and the things that we do have. There's things that are way more important than that. We're going to dive right in. We're going to look at the yellow box at the top and read the facts that they have for us on the top of our page 87 and 88. And number one, it says, the meter is a basic unit of length in the metric system. And that's what we're learning about today, the metric system. Number two, a meter is slightly longer than a yard. And so things that you'd use a yard to measure in the metric system, you'd use a meter. They're kind of like the same thing, kind of like we've seen with inches and centimeters. We see that on number three. A centimeter is slightly longer than a fourth of an inch. And a kilometer is slightly longer than a mile. So though they're different, these are kind of what you'd use. If you used yards to measure something, you'd use a meter. If you used inches to measure something, you'd use a centimeter. If you used a mile to measure something, you'd use kilometers. And if you look down in class practice number 1, it says St. Paul on a sign. It says 50 miles or 80 kilometers. I want you to look down at the box below, and it says metric prefixes. These are things that over time you're going to have to memorize. That deci is going to be 1/10 of a meter, decimeter. Centi will be 1/100th of a meter here, centimeter. Millimeter would be 1/1000th. Deca would be 10. Decameter would be 10 meters. Hecto would represent 100. Hectometer would be 100 meters. And then kilo would be 1,000. Kilometer would be 1,000 meters. And so what we're saying here in all these is that now, to better explain each of these, I'm going to first start with the decimeter. So what a decimeter is if you had, let's say a meter was this long right here, from that end to this end, and that was a decimeter. Now a decimeter is 1/10 of a meter. And it shows that here, 1/10 of a meter. So what that means is, if you were to divide this into 10 parts, I'm going to try to do that right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 parts. A decimeter would be one part right here. This would be your decimeter. If this whole thing was a meter, a decimeter would be 1/10 of it. And then if you had 10 decimeters, well then you'd have a meter. But 1/10 of a meter would be your decimeter. Now I'm going to show you centimeter, and that's a little harder for me to show, but if you get the same idea, if let's say a meter is this long, if that's the length of a meter, well, centi would be 1/100th, so that'd take me making 100, and already I'm not doing a good job of it, but if I was to make 100 little spots all the way across, I don't think I could fit them in at the rate I'm going. And you filled in one of the 100, well, then you'd have a centimeter. And it'd take filling in 100 of them, 100 centimeters, to give you 1 meter. And then for millimeter, I'm not even going to attempt to show that, but the same idea, if you had this being a meter across here, if you divide it into 1,000 parts, a millimeter would be one of those 1,000 parts. And it takes 1,000 millimeters to equal 1 meter. Now the next three are a little different, where you have a decameter, hectometer, and kilometer. A decameter would be if you had your meter, and rather than smaller than a meter, a decameter is bigger. It'd be as if you had 10 meters. And I only drew 3, I'm running out of room, but if I had 10 of those, and I line them up side by side, then that would be a decameter. Now your hectometer, same idea, it would be 100 meters. And then your kilometer would be 1,000 meters. Let's go ahead and get started in class practice. Also, I want to remind you that as you do future assignments, and if you have not memorized what's in this box by that time, you can always look in the back of your book. If you look in the back of your book on page 348, you're going to have what we just worked on. You have your decimeter and your centimeter and your millimeter and your decameter, hectometer, kilometer. And those are the things that we worked on, and you may not have it memorized yet. And then we'll also look at, so this is measuring length, but then we'll also use our decigram, centigram, milligram, decagram, hectogram, and kilogram when we start doing weights, different weight measurements, grams. Instead of meters, it's focused on a gram is your main measurement used. And then even farther down the road, we'll look at liquid capacity, a deciliter, centiliter, milliliter, decaliter, hectoliter, and kiloliter. But most important thing for you to do right now is to start memorizing that deci means 1/10, and centi means 1/100th, milli means 1/1000th, deca means 10, hecto means 100, and kilo means 1,000. So start working on memorizing those to start with, because you will be quizzed on what and they're called metric prefixes are. And here we go, get starting in class practice number 1. It says, fill in the blanks with the correct prefixes. So blank meter is 1,000 meters. And as we look back, 1,000 meters would be a kilometer. A kilometer. We use that one right there. B, which one would be 10 meters? 10 meters would be deca. A decameter. C, which one would be 1/10 of a meter? That'd be deci, 1/10 of a meter. D is asking which one would be 100 meters. Hecto is 100 meters. E is asking which one would be 1/1000th of a meter. And that would be our milli. Millimeter. And then the last one, we have it here. Let's look back though. Centimeter would be 1/100th. So go ahead and make sure you have all of those written. Number 2, it's asking us to circle the longest measurement in each row. So for A, we have 5 millimeters, 5 centimeters, 5 meters. Which one would be the longest, the biggest, the longest one? 5 meters would be longest there. Both 5 millimeters and 5 centimeters, you could measure probably on you would be able to measure it on your ruler. But 5 meters, remember a meter is close to a yardstick. 5 of those, that's bigger than the length of Mr. Fitt's desk. B, 25 decimeters. Now remember, decimeter is 1/10 of a meter, so that's about 2.5 meters. 25 decameters. Remember, every decameter is 10 meters, so 25 of them would be 250 meters. And 25 millimeters, which would be the tiniest little marks on your rulers on the metric side. So the 25 decameters is going to be longest. C, 100 kilometers, 100 centimeters, 100 meters. It's going to be 100 kilometers. And the kilometers are the biggest measurement that we're working with here. Just like they have this sign to travel to the city of St. Paul. If you're driving on the road, roads are going to use either miles or, if they're using the metric system, kilometers. Okay, D, 44 centimeters, 44 millimeters, or 44 meters. The biggest one here would be 44 meters. And then E, 5 hectometers, 50 meters, or 500 millimeters. It's 5 hectometers. And I think they try to confuse you because you look at the 5, 50, and 500, and you might think 500 is biggest, but what matters is which measurement is being used. Okay, let's go ahead and look at 3 on the back side of the paper. It says to match, draw lines to the correct symbols or abbreviations. So decimeter, the abbreviation for decimeter would be DM. Draw a line from decimeter to DM. And this would be another reason to look at the back of your book under metric measures on page 348. We looked at this earlier. Because they show what the prefixes are. Like we just did, the decimeter is DM. And if you look here, right there, decimeter is DM. So you kind of have all the answers to each one right there. But we'll still do them together. Centimeter would be CM. Millimeter is straight across to MM. Decameter is DAM. Hectometer, easy, is HM. And kilometer would be KM. And so before you do the rest on your own, I wanted to show you something that I thought was kind of cool. And this should help you to be able to finish the rest of your math page on your own. If you were to take a coin and you were to put it on the first square of a chessboard or a checkerboard, and I've got a picture of one here, and if you were to take a coin and put it right there and pretend like that's a coin, and then you went to the second square and you put 2 coins. Imagine that there's 2 there stacked on top of each other. And so it doubled. So I went from 1 coin, and then I went to 2 coins, and let's say every time it doubled, so then I put there 4 coins every time it doubled. Let's say I did that and it kept going. Next would be 8, that'd be double 4, and then 16, and then so on. It would keep doubling. Now, if we counted this here, if we counted and checked how many squares we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times, well, let's count them out. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. So if you were to do this 64 times, here's one time, and then two times, and then three times, and then four times, and then five, and you kept going all the way to 64. What's interesting is that once you covered all 64 squares, there would be, and I'm going to show you this number here, this huge number. I'm going to try to write it small so I can fit it all in. It'd be 1, 8, comma, 4, 4, 6, comma, 7, 4, 4, comma, 9, 7, 3, comma, 7, 0, 9, comma, 5, 5, 1, comma, 6, 6, 1. I don't even know how to say this number, but if you were to continue to do it, this is the number you'd come up with. And what's interesting is, so if you had to have that many coins to be able to do this job, this is more coins than has ever been made. Since the beginning of recorded civilization, there has never been this many total coins even made on Earth. So you couldn't do it. So it'd be impossible. Pretty crazy. And it all started with one coin there. Go ahead and do the rest on your own. Hopefully that helps you to be able to finish up your math page. You guys are so smart. I believe in you. I know you can do well on this page.